Vaseline Johnson, Skitelius, Leonisha, Aquafina Jenkins, come on down. Kogata Lewis, come on in. Kogata Lewis. Bountin, is that right? Bountania. Yes, that's her name. Bountania, come on down. Oria Stuff. That's Creole, right? Oria. I said that right? Oria Stuff. Velviata Bowles. I said that right. Velviata Bowles.
Thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more amazing, entertaining, delightful, great disciple content.
Tell me where the freak's at.
Hold up. Hey.
Right hand.
College senior Jeremiah Peterson is suing his former tenant for back rent and damages to his property. Defendant Gabriel Roy claims the plaintiff is a slumlord.
Let's go to you first, sir. Now, sir, this was a tenant of yours?
Yes.
And what is it that he is renting?
He's renting a one-bedroom.
A house or?
One bedroom in a house.
In a house. So he would be boarding in a house. In your house. All right. Now, what sort of rental agreement did you have with him?
We have a lease here.
Please, if you'd pass that up, Miss Sonia, if you'd be so kind.
A generic lease from October to August.
Same year or different years?
It was from 2004, October 2004 to August of 2005.
The rent was to be $450 per month. Is that correct?
Correct. Eventually, once I moved back into the house, he moved into a smaller room because he was living in my bedroom, and then we lowered the rent to $350 because it was smaller.
Now, what do you claim to be the delinquency relative to just the rent issue?
$800.
How many months is that?
Technically, it was from 2 months. I mean, if you want to put it that way, you could basically say from 2 months and a half. But the fact is that he never paid rent very fast or on time, and a lot of times in small segments. So there's a lot of accounting to do. Technically, part of what he owes is still from, several months before that.
Now, did he stay on the premises for the entire term of this lease?
Yes, Your Honor. He wanted to stay until the end. He wanted to stay afterwards, but I wouldn't allow him because he didn't pay me I told him he could stay there if he paid me all the money he owed. And when finally towards the end, I knew he couldn't pay me all the money because he had no job, he had no motivation. I knew he couldn't pay it. When I told him he couldn't, he had a little girl hissy fit and punched holes in the walls to add to the damages. In the court, I have $800, and I have it split up, $200 for the holes he put upstairs.
Well, your estimate says for full replacement and labor for upstairs ranging from $80 to $100 and downstairs ranging from $480 to $4,000, depending upon whether you wanted complete repair or only repair for partial repair for the worst of the damages.
And I'm really asking only for a small fraction of it, mainly because I know Gabe has no money in the first place. And I'm only asking enough so I can fix it myself.
What's the problem?
The problem is the house, and I have proof of it here, wasn't up to code the entire time I lived there. And? I did punch 2 holes in the wall.
Why did you do that?
And I apologize for that. I was angry and lost my temper.
Well, what gives you the prerogative of taking out your anger by punching holes in the wall?
Nothing. It was a mistake.
But, I mean, don't you think that's a little inappropriate? No, I guess not.
I think it's inappropriate. I wasn't...
But you hear about it so often. Everybody does it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem here? Now, understand I've got photographs, right?
But the wall downstairs, those estimates are... Yeah, that's right there. The picture was up there. It's a piece of wood paneling that can't cost more than $100 to replace.
For goodness sakes, how do you manage? You aren't that tall. How do you manage to put holes in the ceiling?
The ceiling?
How about that one?
I honestly have no idea how that happened. I really don't.
You told me you were drunk. That was your
Well,
excuse.
then I don't remember.
That's what
I don't
you said
know,
then,
but I have
too.
no idea how the ceiling happened. And that wall isn't an unfinished basement. It's a piece of wood paneling. Whoever did that estimate isn't right.
It's a piece of wood paneling.
Mm-hmm. In an unfinished basement on a, like, half wall. It was barely even a wall.
How do you come to have this knowledge about building and construction material?
I lived in the house for a year. I know that the wall isn't thicker than an inch at all.
Well, did you have access to kitchen facilities?
Yes. Everyone that lived in the house had use of the kitchen.
The same kitchen you did?
Uh-huh.
Was there anyone else living there with you?
Yes, there are 3 other people living there with me, which was over the occupancy of the house.
Oh, now you're going to talk about I'm going to bring out codes and show what a bad guy he was.
Right here, this is a inspection from the city that my former roommate requested because of the horrible condition of the house.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
And I got this from the city. There's about 6-7 pages of things wrong with the house, including the main thing, maximum occupancy is 3 unrelated people, and I was the 4th person living in there.
What's the matter, Party Central?
Yeah, it was pretty nuts there.
Mm-hmm. Those beer kegs.
Those weren't my kegs. I didn't buy them. I didn't leave them there. And I've drank beer underage with Jeremiah before I even moved in. So it's not like he would have stopped that.
By the way, you're supposed to return them for the deposit. Somebody might want them.
I didn't buy them.
When you're underage, it's hard to do so, Your Honor.
Well, that's the other problem. Underage drinking in the facilities. But you're responsible. And they were complaining
That's
about
Jeremiah's
that.
responsibility.
That you didn't clean up that.
That I didn't clean up that. Mm-hmm. What proof do we have of the other tenants saying
the bottom
anything?
line is other tenants. And you say that the plaintiff was an absentee landlord, a slum landlord.
Yep, that's what the house looked like the whole time I lived there. That's
the point. The whole time you lived there.
It wasn't because of me. That's how it looked when I moved in, too.
But he's an absentee landlord leaving this rental property just open and poor tenants suffering, right? Oh, my. And you called him, I see in your answer, a lot of times to complain about this, and what are you going to do about it? I think what you did is you emailed him a lot, right?
I did a few times, yeah.
All right. Now, 1 or 2 of the times that you emailed him, he couldn't get back to it, from what I think was going on here for some unusual reasons. Amongst other things, the location of his laptop was the subject of some incoming rounds. At the time you're accusing him of being an absentee landlord, he was deployed in a hot combat area.
It's not, the issue is not what Jeremiah was doing. The issue is that he should have appointed someone who would take care of his landlord duties while he was gone, or sold the house.
Now, before you became a tenant, you came in and inspected the house, I see.
Yes, and Jeremiah promised me that my room downstairs would be cleaned and that the rest of the house would be cleaned.
Where else were you going to stay, son?
I didn't have anything else on my mind. I had just been looking around, and I found the house, and it seemed affordable, and it seemed like the people would be fun to live with. There you go.
See, I'm looking at the relative merits of the 2 of you in terms of what you have done with your life. It's like if I have an employment position and I have applicants for that position and I look at their resumes. I'd hire him for the job, not you.
I never got my damage deposit back either.
Well, you're not entitled to it because you trashed the place. That's willful,
The place
wanton,
was trashed
and...
when I moved in.
Now,
Sorry.
enough. I'm not arguing with you because the only opinion that matters in here is mine. And you're beginning to try my patience.
I'm sorry, Annie.
I find your award should be $4,860, which is what I add up to reasonably on what your estimates are and your court costs.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Award accordingly.
Ms. Cohen is now in recess. Sir, go ahead and exit.
Well, you'd think the defendant in this case was a con.
Marcus Rollins is suing Chandra DeWitt in the amount of $1,090 in medical bills after he says her dog bit him.
Marcus Rollins, you're suing Chandra DeWitt for medical bills and missed work days totaling $1,090, correct?
Yes.
All right, sir, prove your case.
Well, I have here my medical record from her dog biting me, injuring me.
Ms. DeWitt's dog
Yes,
bit you.
her dog.
And how did it come about that you were in contact with the dog?
This is how it came about. I'm a full-time college student. This was my finals week. I had just got, like, from both professors that I had a final back-to-back, basically. It was like an hour apart. So, you know, you had to get away and just, like, zone out for a minute. So I put on my earphones, you know, I'm zoning out, walking home, and I could hear, like, this screaming, like, basically a yelp for help, basically, from, like, an animal.
Okay.
I look into the yard, I see this dog that is just sitting there, like, wrapped around the leashes, like, so tight that it was basically stuck to the, you know, the tree that it was wrapped to.
And this is the dog that ultimately bit you?
This is the dog, yes.
And the dog was in front of your house, Ms. DeWitt?
That's correct.
And is this your dog?
Yeah. Rodney's my dog. I've had
The
him
dog's
for...
name is Rodney.
That's right.
What type of dog is it, ma'am?
He's an English bulldog.
How long have you had the dog?
Around 3 or 4 years.
And has the dog ever bitten anyone?
No, absolutely not. He's the friendliest dog you could come across.
Dog's very friendly.
Yeah.
No problems with anyone before.
No. The neighbors come through and play, you know, quite often.
Do you have a yard?
I do.
Is it a gate around the yard or no?
There's no gate around
No
the
gate.
yard.
Was the dog in the front of the house?
That's right, yeah. I always take him out with me when I'm doing some gardening once a week, and he likes being with me, so we were just enjoying, you know,
You were out there with
her.
She was nowhere to be. She was not out there at all, Your Honor. Nobody was out there. The dog was screaming for help.
At that
about to
time,
die,
I went in to
basically.
make some lunch, I think.
You were out there with the dog at some point?
On that day, I was.
When you went to the house, you didn't see her?
No, not at all.
At some point, did you leave?
During that day, I did go in to make a little bit of lunch.
Okay.
But I was only probably gone for about 5 minutes.
All right.
And I did hear a little bit of a commotion that day, so I went to the front door to see what was happening, and Rodney was running towards me.
The dog was running? I thought you had tied the dog up.
Yeah, so he'd somehow got off the leash.
So Rodney got off leash and is running towards you as you're coming out.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. And
I didn't see this gentleman anywhere.
He was nowhere to be found. Did you see her at that point?
No, I never did. I took off like flash, you know, basically. I was gone because the dog had bit me, but I didn't.
Where did the dog bite you at?
Dog bit me right here.
Let me see what you were showing me.
I can't see any injuries.
And after the dog bit you, what happened?
I ran off. Like basically, I just took off as fast as I could because I was scared for my life, you know.
Okay. You had to have emergency services done in the amount of $590.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. And did Mr. Rollins contact you about the dog bite?
Yes, I did.
You
yes,
did?
he did.
I came back right after I got my stitches. I came back to her house. I knocked on her door. She was very rude to me. I'm trying to show her that I have my medical bill and everything.
I think you'd be rude to somebody if they came to your door
at 10 o'clock
like I was a
criminal.
Night. I was a little bit frightened, you know. He came to my door and I'd never seen him before, and he was showing me these wounds.
He showed you one?
I don't know how he got these wounds. I really don't believe it was from my dog Rodney, because he wouldn't hurt a fly. And I was a little bit scared, and I do live by myself, so I didn't want to talk to him any further that night. And I said, I can't help you, and shut the door on him.
Now, how did it come about that the dog bit you? Because you're saying that you got your earplugs on and you're doing your thing. The dog just came after you?
I went to try to save the dog's life because I love dogs. I'm a dog lover. I had a couple of dogs before, and I see this dog, you know, screaming for help.
And why did you feel like you needed to save the dog's life?
I just wanted to do a good deed, that's all. The leash was so tight that it, like about that much, that it had to, you know, get away or at least run around the tree, basically. It must have went around like 3 times where it was so tight.
So the dog got tangled running around the tree
I've
because
never heard of a dog.
And did you leash the dog to the tree?
I did.
You did, all right. And so what were you thinking you were going to do?
I just wanted to unravel it so it could at least be free. That way it could breathe.
But you didn't know this dog?
No, I did not know the dog.
So you're just going to go up to some dog you don't know? I mean, dogs have teeth.
Yeah, I know they have teeth.
And the dog doesn't know you from Adam. So
I'm just a dog lover,
you know,
though.
no good deed goes unpunished.
Exactly. You're right.
Did you ultimately unhinge the dog? Is
Only
that what
got
happened?
one time, and the dog basically got loose from the
So did
whole
you
leash.
do it, or the dog got
No, the
loose on
dog just, the whole thing just came off.
Did the dog get loose on its own? Or
It got loose on its own.
So you didn't never even touch the dog?
No, I didn't touch the dog at all.
You just were getting close to touch him?
Exactly.
What about this $500
Look, I've got a picture here to show.
This is Rodney,
He's
right?
in perfect condition.
Let's take a look at that on the plasma.
If you do some research, you'll find out that he's a beautiful dog.
I would be a little concerned if Rodney was coming after me. Where does the $500 come from?
$500 comes from because I work part-time full service at my school and everything. So, you know, you're making burgers and stuff. You got to be able to move your arm like this. I couldn't even move my arm like that, so they took me off.
All right, you have proof of your working?
Not with me at the moment. Sorry.
You don't have that with you?
No, I'm sorry, Judge.
You know, you were doing so well. Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel's going to come down, obviously, in favor of the plaintiff here. Because what we have is a situation where your dog was left outside, had access to any, I don't care if it was 5 seconds. You have a dog, dogs have teeth. Dog bites man, owner pays for the bite damage. That's what you will be doing. Judgment in favor of the plaintiff, but only for the $590 because I don't have proof about your work situation. All right, that is the order. We're done here.
Woo!